So, I had a goal to drop 52 podcast episodes this year, one every single week. January then came and went, and I only released one pre recorded episode. And for the first time in my life, I think I don't feel behind. I feel very, very intentional. Welcome back to Perspectives Unfiltered. I am your host, LaShante. And to my Perspectives Unfiltered circle, thank y'all so much for rocking with me, y'all. I don't know if y'all know, but it has been officially 1 year since I dropped my very first podcast episode. And I do not take that lightly at all, y'all. I have been evolving behind the scenes. I have been fixing things. I have been moving things around and really learning how to build this thing the right way. So if you are here with me today, baby, I appreciate you more than you ever know. So let's get into January. All right. So at the end of last year, right around New Year's Eve, I was sitting and I was reflecting on my podcast journey so far. And I felt real motivated, y'all. I was like, yes, this is my year. I told myself I was going to sit down and I'm going to record like 10 episodes in one day. I was hype. Okay. I was grateful. I was hype. I kept thinking to myself, just look, LaShante, at what God has done in just 1 year. Just look at what he's done in 1 year. So cool. In my mind, I didn't had it all planned out. I said this year I'm gonna be intentional. I'm gonna drop 52 episodes. I'm gonna drop one episode every single week on YouTube, and that was the vision. That was the energy that I came into January with. Period. But okay, January then came. The first week of January came and went, and the second week hit, and that was my birthday week, January 7th. Happy birthday to all my January 7th twins and January babies. Happy birthday to all of y'all. And I turned 35 this year, y'all. Okay, look at clock it, okay? So, cool. In my mind, I'm like, I gotta turn up. This is like a milestone birthday. So I started planning trips. First, I was like, you know what? I'm turning 35. I'm going out the country. I got to turn up out the country. So then that kind of was like, all right, I'm not gonna really go out the country. That's cool. I'm gonna go to Charlotte, North Carolina. I'm gonna go to Charlotte, North Carolina, find a nice little spa, do a little cutesy little, day trip. That's fine. So then we went from Charlotte to DC. So I'm like, okay. So at that point, my plans just kept shifting. Everything just kept changing. And in the middle of all that, I remember sitting down one day to pray, and I kept hearing God say, be still, be still. But in my head, I'm like, okay, God, I hear you talking, but I know you ain't talking about my birthday because this is 35. This is a milestone. I got to celebrate big. But it was like the closer and closer I got to my birthday, the more things just weren't lining up. Like plans weren't flowing, stuff kept falling through. And that's when it like kind of hit me like, all right, so maybe this was God telling me to sit still and chill, don't do anything. So I did. Instead of like forcing celebrations or forcing content, I started sitting down and really learning. I started studying like my podcast analytics. I started learning what a RPM means and what a CPM means for YouTube. I stopped just posting and started to try to understand the business side of what I've been building for the last year because I've never done that. And for the first time, I wasn't really comparing myself to where I thought I should be after a year. I wasn't saying, LaShanta, you should be way bigger by now. I was saying to myself, you know what? Maybe I'm exactly where God has me. He has me right where he wants me in this season of my journey. So instead of rushing past that, I really like finally just sat down and sat still long enough to understand that. So when I first realized I wasn't going to keep up with that weekly episode plan, at first I kind of felt like a lot of guilt. I didn't feel, I'm not going to say I felt pressure from other people. I felt pressure from myself. I felt lazy. I felt unprepared. I felt behind because I'm like, I'm coming into the new year and I haven't even recorded not one episode. I dropped one episode in January, and that was something pre recorded that I haven't pre recorded last year. So I felt that I should have been way further along or even be more ready than I was. And you know how sometimes, especially when you on like a spiritual journey, when things don't go as planned, y'all know your mind immediately goes to, oh Lord, this is the enemy. This is the enemy playing on my downfall. This is spiritual warfare. Something is trying to stop me. But honestly, that wasn't the case for me. It wasn't the enemy. It was just me sitting and learning. And so I had to sit with that truth because I'm not behind. Like LaShante, you're not behind. You just weren't ready to move at the pace that you thought you needed to move at. So one thing that I had to, that I've always, you know, said to myself coming into this podcasting journey is I want to be purpose driven and not results driven. So even though I felt guilty at first, I never ever felt panicked. I never felt like I was falling off because I truly believe that if this is my calling and if this is what God has assigned to me, then it's going to reach who it's supposed to reach. Whether I post an episode every week or whether I take time to get myself together, my target audience and my people that needs to hear it, they're gonna be there. So I didn't feel the urge to rush and catch up and didn't start scrambling, trying to drop a whole bunch of episodes that's all over the place and not structured just to make time, just to make up time for where I was and feeling like I was lost. So instead, I just sat with where I was. I focused on being a good steward over what God has already blessed me with in this season, all in itself. And for real, I can't even point to one exact moment where everything shifted for me mentally because I don't ever want to come on here like I've got it all figured out because I do not have it all figured out. I am still learning, I am still evolving every single day. But I will say this, I don't know what it was, but turning 35 years old did something to me. It was like a light bulb went off. And I just kept hearing, give yourself grace, move with more intention. And another phrase that kept sitting with me was quality over quantity. Because, see, this is the thing. I didn't release some episodes, not because I didn't have anything to say, but because I'm still figuring out like my audio. Mind you, I've been telling myself I was going to record all day today. Here it is, and it's almost 8 o'clock at night. And I'm just now starting to record because I'm in here trying to figure out stuff. And that's why you see me still looking off to the side because I'm trying to make sure that my audio interface is blinking and that it's picking up my voice. So I'm still learning the technical side of podcasting. I'm a one woman show over here. It's me. I record in my house. My kids are here. I'm trying to test my microphones. I'm trying to adjust the settings. I'm trying to figure out why the sound isn't coming out the way I wanted to. And if I'm being realistic, when I first bought my audio interface and my microphones, I literally just plugged everything up and kept it moving. I didn't read no instructions. I didn't study what the knobs meant. I didn't understand what gain levels were or actually monitoring the sound in your headphones. I was just excited to get on this mic and start talking and creating. But January was the first time that I literally slowed down long enough to actually learn what this stuff actually is. All this technical stuff, the lights and the lighting and daylight lighting and warm lighting and cold lighting, all the things. So I started realizing, okay, maybe my gain needs to be adjusted so my voice and my guest voice are balanced. Maybe I need to wear headphones while recording so I can hear my issues in real time. Maybe these mics that I have doesn't pair well with this interface. These are things that I've rushed past before because I just wanted to produce something instead of just sitting and being intentional with it in the beginning. And I think that's where the shift happened for me. I went from feeling guilty about not releasing any new episodes in January, got to the point of realizing, LaShante, this isn't failure. This is actually your preparation season. God kept telling me, be still. And for the first time in a very long time, I listened. I stopped trying to prove that I was consistent and I started learning how to be actually equipped for what it is that I'm doing. Because until I can afford a full team, a video person, an audio engineer, I have to become a student of my own craft, if that makes sense. So now when I think about building intentionally this year, it looks way different for me. It looks more than just posting for me. For me, it's about slowing down and really engaging with my community this year. And that's And that's actually one of my biggest goals this year for my podcast. Not just to have people who support me, but to truly be connected to the people who are walking in this journey and in this season with me. And I am not going to lie to you, that part is hard because when I first started on TikTok, my page blew up from like 1,000 to 10,000 followers in like a span of 6 months. And I remember one night I went to sleep with around like 6,000 followers. And when I woke up, I had over 10,000 and thousands of comments. And I spent the whole entire day trying to reply back to everybody. And then at that moment, I quickly realized, like LaShawn, that is impossible. It's impossible to respond to every single person when things really and truly start moving fast. So even now, I still try. If a video that I post has fewer comments, I try to go back and reply to as many people as I can. But when a video takes off and I wake up and it's over 100 some comments, and then they keep coming in as I'm typing in, it feels overwhelming. So part of my intentionality this year is really figuring out how to truly engage with my community without burning myself out. Like, how do I build this community in a way that is healthy and sustainable, but it still feels personal? And for real, y'all are part of this Perspectives Unfiltered circle. If y'all have any ideas, just drop them in the comments because I'm still learning this stuff in real time. Um, I always, when I talk, and I always say, I'm not a therapist. I'm not a life coach. Well, I've been looking into getting my life coaching certification this year, not because I think I know everything, but because I want to be more equipped to support people in a structured way. And I've had people tell me, like, oh, you should be a therapist, but I don't feel called to therapy. I feel like therapy is very powerful. I'm in therapy. I have my kids in therapy. We go to therapy once a week. But I feel like it's also in a clinical way that's different from what I personally feel led to do. I feel like I personally want to connect with people on a more personal level. And here's the biggest part about when people tell me my videos have helped them heal, I'm grateful. I'm grateful. But I want everybody to have that understanding that this isn't just one sided. Just as much as my words help y'all, this journey is helping heal me too. This platform is a two-way street. We're growing together in this. So as far as that part, I'm thankful. So to anybody right now who is listening, who feels like that you're behind in life, you're behind in your calling, you're behind in your goals, you're behind in your purpose, I want you to learn what it means to rest intentionally. Because resting and being still does not mean you're doing nothing. Rest is preparation. When you're in that season of rest, that's the time to sit and to plan and to learn and to actually get equipped, because faith without works is dead. You can't just pray for something and then do nothing on your end. You have to meet God with your obedience and your own effort. So that's what January was for me. It looked like it was slow, but in reality, I was just preparing. And now I'm able to move with more clarity and more structure and more intention. Um, and the biggest thing I want to leave you with is this: do not compare your journey to anybody else's. Ask yourself, and I just posted a TikTok about this: am I being entertained by someone that I'm watching, or am I being inspired? Because there's a big difference. And I've always said, I'm just delusional enough to believe that if I can see it in my mind, one day I'll see it in my hands. And I want you to believe that same thing too. So do not rush your season. Don't panic when things start to slow down, and don't call preparation failure, because it's not. And that's just my perspective, unfiltered. So thank y'all so much for spending this evening with me, this time with me on Perspectives Unfiltered. If this episode resonated, go ahead and share it, and make sure that you have subscribed so that you don't miss the next episode. Until next time, y'all, stay real, stay growing, and keep your perspectives unfiltered. Peace.